Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
Hey, George. Did you get a firecracker into your hot dog, or are you just happy to see me?
Heyo.
We watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, my second favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. George, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good.
Travis, how you hanging in there?
A little to the left, but we're good.
All right. Well, I mean, not shattered by gunpowder, so it's a better day than some.
Yes.
Right.
George, last week we had you watch the seminal classic Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Wes Craven from 1984. This week we threw the sequel, doubled it up much like we did the Godfather duality. I try to pretend Godfather 3 doesn't exist, and you'll see there's a lot of that in the Nightmare franchise for me. But
Yep.
Initial impressions, how you doing tonight, man? You still on the Freddy bandwagon, or the school bus, I guess, as I should say?
The school bus.
No.
Wow.
No. Which one of you one of you guys like this movie and the other one not so much?
We
Right?
both-
I don't remember
We
who's
both like that.
you both
Yeah.
like it?
We both
Oh,
like it.
It's 3 that you guys disagree about.
Yes.
Yes.
I like 3. He does not.
Okay.
Although most people like 3, and I admit it's a much better movie than 2. It's just there's no joy in it for me like there is in 2.
I think part of the issue with 2 that separates most people is that it's not a Freddy movie. It's not a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Why is that?
It's not Wes Craven. It doesn't pick up any characters from the original.
Okay.
It doesn't pick up any characters from the original. It gives us a different Freddy, different looking Freddy, behavior-wise different. Makes the protagonist basically the antagonist
Mhm.
through, I guess, mental possession or inner desires coming out, whatever it is they want to do.
That was interesting, yeah.
And then the whole, I guess we'll get into it eventually, but the underlying commentary of the story is different.
So, I'm going to ask you a real stupid question. Wes Craven is the director, right?
From the first one, not this one.
Right.
Right.
The first director. Okay. Yeah, who directed this one? The second one? Some dude?
I didn't know there was a test. Some dude.
Some guy.
'Cause I think maybe that was part of the problem. Yeah, I didn't like
it doesn't
this.
have the charm.
I didn't like
of-
this nearly as much as the first one. Like, not, like, I want to say, like, not at all. But maybe.
So doing this back to back, like Godfather, actually worked because we got the same results.
Yeah, but for different reasons, I think. Yeah, it was. I'm sorry to be a downer, but like it was just really poorly put together. Like there was all kinds of stuff that just didn't make sense, and like
Well, what didn't make sense?
continuity
Do you have
issues.
notes? You don't have
and-
notes, do you?
I do have notes.
Okay.
No.
But like the last yeah, we need a sound bite for that.
Notes.
Anyway, yeah, all kinds of like, I guess they're continuity issues, but like maybe just like crap that doesn't make sense.
Well, let's talk it out. Let's talk it out.
All right, so the last 20 minutes of the movie, like the most important part of the movie, I just stopped taking notes and I was like, and my last note was just like the rest of the movie. Ugh. So I'll go up to that.
Wait, hold on. That depends where that starts. That I can agree with you, because I think all the boiler room shit with the girl going, with Lisa going to the what do you call it?
That's pretty much
All right.
yeah.
Like the party is dope. That's my favorite part of the movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
It's good shit. But this whole love story, Beauty and the Beast stuff, it always bothered me. Like I love you, Lisa.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean it's they're going for something.
yeah, and I'm surprised that like, like, I mean, I was gonna say I'm surprised that like that shit worked and it wasn't just like Freddy playing a trick on this chick who's like,
because it really wasn't Freddy.
he's just taking advantage of her. Like it's just Freddy tugging at her heartstrings so that he can, Get her screams.
Well, and then it ends like the first Ghostbusters movie where he's like shipping himself out of like marshmallow cream. Like,
smoke if you got him.
man, I'll tell you, my last note after a lot of complaining is that this is still my second favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which just I think says more about the quality of the sequels than it does the quality of this particular movie. Although there's some really interesting things to mine in this movie. It's a goddamn dumpster fire from start to finish.
Jack Shoulder?
Oh, Jack Shoulder. Yeah, he did like
that guy.
Alone in the Dark.
That explains a lot.
That guy.
Who's that?
It almost sounds like a pseudonym. Like one of those ones that multiple directors would adopt just so they wouldn't have to take credit for this garbage that we just watched. Although,
he directed The Hidden?
Yeah.
Wishmaster?
Ooh, Wishmaster. See, that is the quality of filmmaking we're watching. Is Wishmaster quality Nightmare on Elm Street sequels. But here's the thing. One thing that I will applaud this movie for is it quickly got made and was ready for market a year after the first one.
That's a good thing.
I mean, it was there when the market needed it.
I don't care how long a movie takes or how short.
I'm mostly kidding. But imagine like...
Oh, God, dude. I totally missed the point. I'm like, that's something that you're
It was
proud
successfully captured on 35 millimeter and delivered to theaters in time for Christmas. It had audio and video. It met some bare minimums. But
it had audio and video.
It's really interesting. And I think later on this year, we're going to talk about how the world being as it is, hindsight being 2020, we know now how franchises grow, and they're usually the Friday the 13th model. But even if you look back at the original Friday the 13th, when that movie ends, there isn't a clear path forward. Friday 2 establishes Jason, and from there is a path, right? We're going to just keep doing this over and over. But when Friday 1 ends, it could stop, it could go any direction, and we just haven't picked it yet. This movie, after the first one, what direction are we going to go with Freddy? After what we got with 2, it became very clear that, oh God, we're just going to have to do Freddy 1 over and over and over and bigger and more goofy, because the stuff we tried here just ain't working.
Well, see, what offends me on that is the ideas of this movie. Like George always says, the ideas are good, the execution is bad.
Yep.
Like, I love the idea of him basically being an entity and mentally possessing.
I do too. I wonder why the heck he needs to do that.
Well,
in order to do that and make it cool, like, okay, this is cool, he needs to have a good reason to have to do that instead of just do what he does normally.
Right. I think
never established.
They approach it as more of like a haunting, and not like, I know that later on in the series they kind of discuss how he needs, kind of like Monsters Inc., he needs the fear, he needs the legacy of Fred Krueger to keep him alive. Like, it's just like Santa Claus. You have to believe in him and fear him to give him energy and power. If he doesn't have that, then he can't exist. That's why in Freddy vs. Jason, he conjures Jason to bring fear into the town so that the fear of Freddy will kind of give him the energy so he can manifest.
Who fears Santa Claus?
Nobody. But, every Christmas movies are like, oh, there's no Christmas spirit. There's no belief in Santa anymore. And then the sleigh doesn't fly or this or that. Like, that's always like
a couple of people get punished.
Yeah.
Garbage day occurs.
Garbage day.
People get punished.
But that's always the premise. That, like, even in Elf, like, people don't believe, and then they start singing carols.
You need the
and
Christmas spirit
and
stuff.
Spirit. So with him, it's like, if there's no fear of his legacy and his existence, then he doesn't exist.
Yeah, and if you're not good, then you don't get any presents.
Yeah, I don't know if he brings anything. He does wear a Christmas sweater, so.
I mean, it is kind of germinated in the first one when Nancy inexplicably decides that the way to kill him is a thing she hasn't tried, which is to tell him that his power is no longer valid at her restaurant or whatever.
Right.
And then this
she
one,
asked him to please leave.
they
please
really
leave.
like exposition force it right toward the end where the girl's, where all of a sudden he's just like taking all the power from all the kids, and she's like, oh no, he's gonna get all the power from all the kids. And it's like, how do you people, what book are y'all reading that I missed? Because this is not common knowledge that everybody suddenly knows, like, oh right, because he is a demon, he needs all the power, and now he's scaring all these people. And yeah, everybody's just like,
Are you
oh
talking
yeah,
about
this
at
is
the
how that
party?
works. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even think they thought that.
it's mentioned out loud at one point, and you're just like, wait, what, did we cover that before? Was it, is this a
My
review,
problem
or is
with
this
that
new
scene is
information?
that should have been a massacre. That scene,
Yes.
if he would have unleashed on those kids, that's Freddy.
He killed
They
like
made
one
him too
dude.
sensitive. Yeah, he's too
And
sensitive.
even then, that guy might not be dead. He might just have a really, really stitch-filled evening.
Fucker. Like, yeah, I think he's gone.
Yeah, and like even right before that, what's the redhead's name? The names
Lisa.
the names don't matter. The redhead was like, "Oh, it's like your fear. He needs your screams. He needs
Right.
he needs you to fear." Blah blah blah.
Wait, who she said it to? 'Cause I remember. Is she talking to
The dude.
She's talking to Mark. What's his name in the movie? Jesse.
Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. She's talking to him, and then like literally 10 seconds later, he pops up from behind a coffee table, and he's Freddy Krueger, and she's like, "Ah!"
Yeah, gives him all the screams he needs. Yeah. It's the 80s.
I don't
Tropes,
know,
man.
man. I
Because
don't
tropes.
know.
And I'm like, "Yo, chill,
Hmm.
for real."
Other than that, she almost had like a Nancy thing because she was strong. Other than that,
Yeah,
Like-
she was a likable character, but that was like a director thing. I wasn't. Yeah, it's like, why put that in the movie? Like, her being like, all the screams and the fear and blah blah blah, and like telling him like not to fear it, and not to like whatever, and
Mhm.
fight it, whatever. And then she's confronted with it, and like she totally crumbles immediately.
Right.
Like, no, like make her if she's strong, make her strong.
stand up.
Like, why isn't this a consistent character?
Be
like,
Sigourney Weaver.
Right.
Stare that shit in the face. Tilt your head, and pull out the flamethrower.
Yes.
That's what
You're
you
right.
do.
Yeah. Exactly.
But they weren't thinking that back then.
They weren't thinking anything, Travis.
That
They had
is
their
the key.
heads so far up their fucking asses
I
that they made this movie.
I think this movie is the product of studio involvement and a director who basically said, Wes Craven who?
Yeah.
And he said, this is going to be my take on the character. Which, to me, I thank him for, because it is my favorite Freddy.
This one?
This is my favorite Freddy.
Oh, the character Freddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, when I think of the character and the story and his background, like
yeah.
the opening scene, I wrote it down. I don't know if you noticed. The bus driver.
Yeah.
Was Robert Englund.
Yes. I noticed.
Out of makeup.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That 3 seconds, you get so much from him. Just his face, his posture,
Mm-hmm.
the way he closes the door.
Mhm.
Like, you get so much from that. And to me, that's the character.
Yeah.
Every time he's on screen, it's perfect for me, because that's who I think Freddy is.
I agree.
Like, I love the effects in this movie.
I don't agree.
I
But
understand
go
that.
ahead.
But the makeup is fucking
Oh,
top
yeah.
notch.
Freddy's makeup. Yeah, totally.
the makeup,
Yeah.
the transformation where Jesse basically heals from the outside and Freddy comes out. That's kind of flawless for 1984.
Yeah.
No?
No.
It look all right. We'll watch
Actually, it wasn't that effect when like his gut opened up or his chest opened up and like Freddy came out, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't that
when
exact
he stepped
part.
out of the skin, it looked good. The
It
only
was-
time
but
it looked
it was
bad was the
before-
eyeball in the eye. Eyeball in the mouth. That's the only thing I didn't like.
That looked terrible. And before, I think it was before the eyeball in the mouth or right after, when like Freddy's face starts like coming out,
Yeah,
like
the
stretching
latex
his
chest.
skin or whatever. Like the dummy that they're using looks so fake, it's laughable fake. It's like on SNL when they throw someone out the window and it's
And you
like
see it's
obviously a dummy. You know, like you can use a dummy and it still look good, but
Right.
like in SNL they do it like so it's like it's
So
obvious that it's a dummy.
It's 1984.
That's what it looked like.
For the
I
no, I'm just
don't
listen to what I'm saying.
No.
Listen, 1984. The budget probably maybe 1.5 mil. Not a lot.
Oh, they should have more
Okay.
than that.
The same year Terminator was made and came out. Jim Cameron, Stan Winston, F.U. Money.
Yeah.
Their dummy Arnold, when he's operating on his eye socket and his putting the shades on in front of the mirror, looks terrible. Ish. It does. When you watch it, there's no seamless. You can tell when that's a dummy and when it's not, because the lighting's not right, the color on the skin is not right. Now this is Stan Winston, who I basically would have married back then. Like, he was my idol. I wanted to work for him.
That's hot.
I wanted to fly out to California and work for Stan Winston Studios. He was it. Him, Tom Savini, and the guy that did this movie, Kevin Yeager. They were, and Rick Baker, like they were the top. Kevin Yeager used to work for Tom Savini, and this was like his first attempt to do makeup on his own.
Right.
This movie. It's not bad.
Well, the makeup was good. Like Freddy's face
yeah.
looked good. Freddy's skin looked good. Like when he peeled his scalp off and he had no skull, just brains.
Yeah,
that
brain
looked good.
Is like, you can see his heartbeat in his brain.
Yeah, that looked good. Yeah.
Flawless.
Freddy was good. They
Yeah.
spent time and I guess time and
You
energy.
could tell they ran out of money because the second transformation scene took place behind a desk.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like all of a sudden he pops out.
Yes.
Yeah. It's clear to me that they didn't have Stan Winston money. They didn't have
so funny.
Jim Cameron money. They obviously didn't have Jim Cameron directing. But the effects of Terminator and the effects, not the special effects. Well, I'm not talking about like, and even the effects in Terminator were pretty hokey. Like the stop motion robot, today would not pass. The dummy Arnold, terrible compared to just 10 years later in T2. Compared to 3 years earlier with American Werewolf.
Maybe I should watch Terminator and Terminator 2.
It's coming up.
Okay. Because you like always reference it. Like we always reference it. I've never seen it.
T2 is almost a near perfect movie. So to reference it, I said near perfect.
I like the first one better, man.
Yeah. Well,
we should put that on.
I guess we'll debate that.
Yeah, put that on.
But
the
believe me,
on
I
the
love
schedule.
them both. I love them both. But I think the second one is more. It's action-wise. Anyway,
more
we'll
better.
do that move. It's more gooder.
It's more gooder. Yeah.
More gooder.
Hi, this is Dan in Post.
Post. Yeah. He's full of shit. All right, back to the show.
Hey, so guys, if there's nothing wrong with the air conditioning, then why would the dad need to fix something with the air conditioning?
Okay, hold on. Let me get through my notes. And at some point, I decided just to start making a little note whenever something bothered me about the consistency in the movie.
Let's try to keep this show under 3 hours, George.
Well, I mean, these are just, and a lot of them I didn't even bother, but some of them I did. Okay, wakes up shirtless and sweating, and everything in his room is melting, and he gets up, puts on a sweatsuit, and goes down to the boiler room.
Did you ever have chills? The cold sweats?
Yeah, but everything in my room didn't start melting when I had cold sweats.
Again,
I don't think it was cold sweats.
This movie is like Total Recall. You don't know what's real and what's not. What's his dream and what's not. So
and it's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
So he runs.
I think the whole movie's a dream, honestly.
So he runs into his gym teacher at the gay bar or whatever that is, and he brings him to school to work out.
Mm-hmm.
Punishment labs.
Why?
Punish.
Have you ever
Lapse.
had nightmares or dreams? Do they always
Was that
make
a dream?
sense?
Was this whole thing a dream?
We don't know.
Okay, this is all right. All right.
I don't want you to feel cognitive dissonance, George. This movie really sucks.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Lunch table. Redhead is like, I wish you would talk to me. Bitch, he's been telling you everything. He's been telling you
Not to
everything.
mention, he's new to the town, and he's already got this 4-year relationship with this girl.
Yeah, but like, didn't they go to like the factory already? They're talking about Freddy. He's talking about the dreams and how he thinks he's going crazy, and she's like, just talk to me at the lunch table. And it's like, he is talking to you. He has been. I don't know. Yeah, and then the other one was like the whole feeding off your fear, and then like 10 seconds later she's screaming bloody murder. Why do the Rottweilers roar like tigers? The masked Rottweilers that don't attack you?
The doll Rilers.
Is that what that is?
They have like doll faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, which tells me it's possibly
And
dream
then
sequence.
my next note, rest of the movie. Ugh.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Also, are they supposed to be doing push-ups? Is that what they're doing next to each other?
Yeah.
They kind of plank lazily.
That's
yeah.
what I'm like. Are they planking? Is it
Did
like
you ever get punished in gym to do push-ups?
I got
and
punished in football.
Okay. In gym, when you're told, the teacher really doesn't stand and watch you, so you just kind of pretend you're doing push-ups. I did not have a problem with that because I have actually done that.
They looked like they're struggling pretty good.
Well,
dude.
and if
I
you
think they were
notice,
pretending to be doing push-ups without doing any
for
push-ups.
whatever reason, and maybe it's coincidental or maybe it's part of a greater theme. Both of them seem to be like pelvic thrusting the dirt together. If you notice the
a
position,
huge gay underlining tone in this movie.
Yeah.
is there?
Huge. Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I mean, we'll get into it, but I don't know, man.
It's clear. It's clear that's what they're doing.
At times they are trying, but it's so inconsistent that it's just it's interesting.
Nothing
That's
is
where the movie becomes rewatchable, though, because it is just so inconsistent in theme.
This is the kind of movie that I'm glad DVDs exist, because I can be like, oh, I definitely want to watch the pole scene, or YouTube. I want to watch the pole scene again, and I'll just
The
pop it
pole
in just
scene?
for the pole scene.
Oh, again, the water's boiling in the pool, and everyone in it isn't dead.
Well, they were blistering. They were blistering.
You know how long you can spend in boiling water until you die?
I don't know. Again, was this a dream or not? I wrote, my last note was, this whole movie could be a dream.
Or a nightmare.
That is not an acceptable. It's not acceptable because, number one, they don't establish whether it is or not. It's also not acceptable because you don't just make a movie that is full of gibberish dreams for no reason. If you make a movie that is completely a dream, it has to have some point.
It had Fu Manchu's cereal. I mean, come on.
That was dope.
Fu Manchu's?
I'll give you that. That was a good choice.
Back in the day when they actually put items in the box that you could get as a prize?
In the cereal.
In the cereal.
Oh, also, question. In the first one, did Freddy have blades that grew out of his fingers? Or
No.
was it always the glove?
No, it was the glove.
So the growing out of the fingers blades was new.
It's like in the Spider-Man movies where they were
Yeah.
like, oh, in this version, he's got web that shoots out of his wrist now. And people were
I
like,
just think it was
but he used to have
a way
shooter things.
to show. Are you talking about Freddy or when
I don't know. Freddy
the
or
difference
Jesse,
is Jesse
whatever.
was manifesting into Freddy so that
I
the
get it.
blades coming out of the fingers were like a transformation.
Okay,
But no.
no.
The rest of the movie,
No.
it's still fingernail. Like,
Yeah, because it's not really Freddy. It's
Oh, Jesus.
Jesse.
this movie blows.
No. No, because in the beginning, as the movie progresses, when Jesse first starts being quote unquote
I
possessed.
love the guy that made us watch Silent Night, Deadly Night. It screams movie sucks.
It is more consistent. Silent Night, Deadly Night makes more sense than this movie.
You know, I hate to agree with you, Dan, but I agree with you.
It's still not better.
I agree.
Movie.
It's
I could never
it's
sit
more
through that
consistent
again.
than this movie. But
Mm.
what the heck was I talking about? Oh, the finger thing. In the beginning, when I'm repeating myself. In the beginning, when he first starts being quote unquote possessed by Freddy, right?
Right.
He gets the glove.
Right.
From the furnace because it's there, which is cool. The
And
glove's cool.
He does wear it a few times,
And he
not growing through.
He wears
Right.
it, and he finds himself wearing it,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden it like appears on his hand,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's in his drawer, and it's like moving. All those things are really cool. And then he like does this like werewolf meets Wolverine,
Mm-hmm.
and it grows out of his fingers, and I'm like, why?
I think that's a poor director's.
Just why?
It's a poor director's inability to nail down a way to differentiate what's in real life and what is dream. I'm telling you, it's a failure of the director who was not able to visually convey to the design team and the special effects team and maybe his producers and his actors and himself. We want to have a story where we don't know what's reality and what's not. We can kind of establish what's reality by showing him holding the glove, showing him wearing the glove. But then there's scenes where he's got latex skin with the blades. That's clearly not really there. Just like are people seeing Jesse at the party or are they seeing Freddy? Like they don't know how to establish that. So it looks wonky because they're not. Their idea is this kid is. It's an inward possession. He's possessed by this entity that is using him as a vehicle. Instead of showing Jesse as Freddy, which would be a Tommy Jason thing, they do it more like Jason Goes to Hell, where it's like when Jason would walk past the mirror, it was Jason in the mirror, even though it was, the waitress.
Oh, speaking of mirrors, when the mirror scene, when Freddy's in the mirror, and it's him on the other, like it's just regular Jesse. I didn't realize that was a mirror. I thought it was like another room. I thought it was like a bathroom or something.
I think that means it worked.
He was standing in the other room until he threw the until he threw the thing and he broke the mirror, and it's like, holy crap, that's a mirror, and that's cool.
Yeah. I honestly think this movie would be better if they had a director that knew what he was doing. Yeah. Because it's in the story. There's a flip-flop. Did the guy have an agenda that he was trying to do other things where he concentrated more on that than on the story? I don't know, because there's a whole lot of underlying tones in this movie. The writer denied it for years and then finally confirmed it. The director still denies that it's there. The actors were not, or some of them are wishy-washy on the information.
Okay, but seriously, is giving air conditioning an injection of Freon fixing it? Because if it is, then why did that dad lie to the family and say that there was nothing wrong with the air conditioner? Are you with me? I'm hung up on this fact.
I don't know, but you were hung up on Pasadena Walls, so I'm not really sure.
No, well, what are you?
The problem
hold on,
is?
what are
was it in their head?
What
I don't
are you
know.
trying to say, Dan?
I just think it's ridiculous that dialogue's like, there's nothing wrong with the air conditioner, I just need to fix it.
Yeah, why is the...
I can tell you exactly what it is.
Why is the air conditioner even an issue?
It's 1984.
Why is everybody else in the house feeling how hot it is? It should just be the dude who's possessed, and everyone thinks he's crazy.
Right.
Because he is.
Because you can't get the stereotypical... What is it? What's the word?
And then the bird explodes. Why the hell?
Oh my God, the birds explode. Why?
Again, reality or not? We don't know.
They all
It's
saw
obviously
it.
not reality. Well,
everybody saw it. We had third-party verification.
Right, but
the
we
toaster,
don't know if
the toaster
was not plugged in. What I'm saying is, again, poor director
no.
might be saying that all 4 people in that house are experiencing these things that aren't really happening.
Travis, I'm pretty sure that toaster was not plugged in on purpose because we were seeing that this part of the movie was actually from the perspective of the mother, not from the. It's a perfect movie. There are no mistakes.
I'm not saying that
This movie needed some light switches. This movie needed some light switches and some furniture.
Listen, don't do the Dan and Post shit. What I'm saying is,
this is Dan and right now.
Unlike Poltergeist, where your argument was,
that's what I'm thinking right now.
Right.
Poltergeist, the third party verification.
With this,
stuff.
I'm saying the bird thing, the house boiling, all that shit wasn't really happening. They were all experiencing that house. The problem is the director didn't know what the fuck he was doing. That wasn't really happening. None of that was happening.
Or what if it was happening and the director is perfect and he doesn't make mistakes?
He's not.
No,
I'm not talking about Kubrick here.
I am.
You know, it's funny. I had a thought about Kubrick.
I know you are because you don't believe in the thing that we said. I already talked to Dan and Post, and he said that I was an asshole. What was it? Oh, bullshit. I was giving a lot of bullshit. So
shoveling
about the Stanley Kubrick,
the Wendy theory.
Yeah,
dude, that Wendy theory is awesome, and it's true.
So also, I'm not applying that to this movie.
But let me tell you about my Kubrick. There was a shot where like the camera goes like around the room through the house kind of, and the door is red.
Stop.
I'm not even shitting you. I'm not fucking with you. I swear to God. The door is red, and I think, oh, if this was a Kubrick movie, that would mean something.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't.
No. It might be an homage to the front door of the original movie, but
I don't know.
It's
the same door.
I don't even see the director doing that much research. Like, I don't think he gave a shit about the original movie. He just wanted to make a Freddy movie.
So then you agree with me and Dan.
What?
The movie's terrible.
It's not terrible for me.
All right.
But then again, you guys are watching it differently than I did.
Mm.
Yeah, we watched it.
No, I watched it as a kid.
But I mean, we're watching it.
Coming from the guy who told me
there's no bias here. We're just
Friday
watching
13th
it unbiased.
Part 8 was his favorite because he saw it when he was a kid.
No, it's definitely not my favorite, but it is my first.
Hold on. Let's just agree that both Travis and Dan like some shitty movies.
I like a lot of shitty movies.
This one Travis likes.
This one included.
This one Travis likes. And Dan likes anything made in Italy in the 70s. So, there you go. We can like shitty movies. It's fine.
It's the snide smirk. Oh, you like a shitty movie, so we're gonna shit on your liking the shitty movie.
No one's shitting on. Well, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like if.
All right, next time Dan likes a shitty movie, we should shit on him more. That's all.
I don't know. If you go back to Silent Night, Deadly Night, y'all were full bowel on that movie. You ate extra ahead of time just to have more to shit on that movie.
I guess that's true.
I had potatoes, gnocchi. I had some gnocchi.
Oh God.
So my favorite line in the entire movie.
It did have vintage Star Wars toys in it. So
my favorite line in the entire movie, because the setting and the delivery could be taken out of like Freaks and Geeks, like a good show with a good parent. The dad says to him, "What are you taking, son?
Drugs.
And where are you getting it?"
Yeah. And who is giving it to you, I think. Or where are you getting it?
Where are you getting it?
What's funny?
Oh no.
A lot of the problems that Dan's having, or at least expressing, is the dialogue and the script writing for the parents.
Yeah.
And it was purposely done, according to most, to drive home the homophobic parents who basically don't want their child to come out, which is the underlying tone of this movie.
Is that what it is?
I didn't get that from the parents.
That's the underlying tone of this movie.
Man.
The whole thing is Jesse's struggle with his homosexuality, and his parents are like the stereotypical rural or suburban parents that are like, oh, you can basically pray away your problems.
Pray away the gay?
Yeah. Like the dad is like super jumps right to, I'll beat the shit out of him and he'll change. What do you
Dude,
want, drugs? Like, he's like the
dad-
stereotypical dad.
The dad is not even stereotypical. He's just. That's all.
Right.
He just.
But he's purposely that way. Like, the mom
Yes.
is very inclusive. Like, she's like,
Well, I don't know if he's purposely that way. Like,
if you
if
watch
his
this
character
movie
was
with
written
the
that way-
commentary,
okay, if the character was written that way, then the actor did a really good job. Because he's a ginormous turd.
there's a movie called The Breakfast Club. I don't know if you know about it.
Never heard of it.
Okay.
Just kidding. I've heard
Emilio Estevez, his character had a dad like this.
of it. Okay.
He's the, win, masculine, do all the things that are manly kind of dad.
Well, this guy was a turd.
Right. That was their version of
Couldn't even move a stove
trying to
by
show.
himself.
God, he lost a fight with a stove
For real.
and
He got bit by a bird too.
and the hood. He got a good.
And he had a. He
I'm
I'm
wore
not
a
saying this
Band-Aid.
guy's a tough guy.
He wore
I'm
a Band-Aid for the next 3 days, Travis.
I'm not saying he is that dad. What I'm saying
just
is,
kidding. Go
they're
ahead.
in the 80s. They're stereotypical fathers.
They're stereotyping this guy. Yes.
There's the dad that does this. He's like, win, win, win. There's the dad that's like, pray away you're gay. Pray this away. This
Mhm.
dad is that dad where he's like, first thing he goes to, oh, you're on drugs? What are you
Mhm.
on, dope?
Right.
He's just like the word cleaver. Like, he's just not,
Yeah.
he's not a good influence on his son, who's obviously struggling with something.
Yes.
When you watch it with that undertone that this kid is struggling with his sexuality and his parents accepting his behavior and coming out of his skin and being seduced by a man, like, there's all these things that are there in this movie that doesn't make it good. What I'm
Right.
saying is that they tried to do something in the 80s which was kind of not attempted too much. Even though you had like Boy George and you had like all these people that were comfortable with their sexuality and they were out and about and they were doing their thing and they were
Okay.
popular.
Yeah.
There still was people in the closet. There was a lot of people in the closet. So with this commentary, this underlying tone of this movie between the teacher going to the gay clubs,
Yeah.
He gets assaulted by balls.
he gets hit by balls.
So many balls.
Wow. Yeah.
There's S&M stuff there with the jump ropes. He's like, there's a lot there. His sexual tension with his friend.
Who's?
Jesse's sexual tension with the guy he was doing push-ups with.
Oh, with
like, the whole
Grady.
movie.
Yeah.
Grady. There's a lot of sexual tension between them.
I need to stay in your room tonight.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then he's like, it's happening again, and he's like, you have this girl who wants to be with you, and you want to sleep with me. Like, all these things he's saying, there's a lot of undertones in this movie that scream that this character is trying to escape whatever it is that he is within.
Okay.
Did you catch that, George?
Now that I understand all of this. No, I didn't catch that when I watched it. I just thought the whole thing was weird. The whole movie was just being weird for no reason. But now that I know that there was a message there, I like the movie even less. I didn't know it was possible.
Right.
But now that
And I'm not saying that makes it good or bad. I'm just saying, like, if a director or a writer has a vision,
it has to make it worse, though. If that was the message and it didn't come across.
yeah, and it also makes it worse when you take a character like Freddy Krueger and you try to tell the story of a kid coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't fit because Freddy Krueger is not only a child murderer, but he's
Lots of poor decisions.
Yeah.
I really want to
happen in this
see
movie.
all the draft scripts for this movie. And granted, with such a
Me
quick
too.
turnaround, there were probably 3. Okay, the first one was probably called I'm Coming Out and My Dad Doesn't Like It. And then the second one was like, oh shit, we need another Freddy movie. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's
combine 'em.
Revenge.
Right.
But, man, this
No,
movie
the
is
second script was was Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I'm gay and my dad doesn't like that. And then the third script was Freddy's Revenge.
Right. Now, this undertone is very embraced by a lot of people. Like, this is actually considered a gay movie in some communities.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not me saying, oh, I think this happened. Like, I know that this has been talked about for over a decade.
I believe you. This is not the Wendy theory. Dan,
So
you agree, right?
Here's some background for you, George. Mark Patton, the guy that played Jesse, is from Riverside, Missouri, right outside of where I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be like neighbors. It's like the Voorhees to my Haddonfield, if you will.
Oh,
okay, nice.
Here's the thing. This movie destroyed his career.
Mm.
And there's a really interesting documentary out there called Scream Queen about his struggles in the 80s trying to get outside the shadow of this role and try to still play straight characters, even though obviously the actor is gay.
Right.
I mean,
But he really wasn't a good actor in this movie, so that might be also the reason why.
Nobody was a
career.
good actor in this movie, but
he was okay. He was a little over dramatic.
Well, but when you're directed by Jack Shoulder,
right.
you know, king of nuance, Jack Shoulder. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
king of nuance.
If
I'm
anything,
sure
if
there's multiple reasons why he didn't get work.
If there was one scene in particular that really impressed me with Mark's acting, it's when he's making out with the redhead. Because he's making out with the redhead in a convincing way. Like, he's doing the thing, right? He's putting in the work.
I was going to say that, though.
If you just saw that clip, you'd be like, oh, hey, he's making out with that girl. Cool.
Right, but what Travis was just saying a minute ago about, like, him being gay, and there's this thing that his dad doesn't want to, like, that he can't tell his parents about, and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I don't know. He was making out with that girl pretty, like, he seemed pretty into it, Well,
and the thing that fails in this movie is there is a consistent... Well, there's a consistent lack of consistency with regard to theme. And so for parts of the movie, you will have these successful bits where they're just like, okay, clearly he has something that wants to come out, right? The blossoming is clearly being held back for different reasons. And you got the parents involved in Grady, and you got all these things that actually kind of work. You've got the coach and the balls and the S&M shower butt part that doesn't work, but like it's still consistent with the theme, right? Like, okay,
I thought that worked.
Like,
I'm sure.
You're trying to get a character from the point of closet to the point of out of the closet. They're working on some level and they're consistent in theme. But then you have Freddy Krueger, child murderer, potential child, other things involved in this, and it screws up the whole thing because now you've got Freddy trying to come out of this guy. Yeah. So you're like, is he not gay, but he's actually he's got a child murderer coming out of him? Like, why is he in his sister's room at one point? Like, what it does is it tries at times to do a thing, but then because it's so inconsistent, it actually makes it so much more toxic and bad that it goes from like a potentially even positive gay community story to like anti-gay in a hard way. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
It's really bad.
Yeah, they're trying to push the coming out of the closet thing, but they're also not successful in making it a good thing.
Right. Well, like you wouldn't even
suppressing.
You don't have to have a judgment. It's the 80s. Like, you don't have to have a judgment attached to the coming out of the closet thing or even the homosexual lifestyle or any of these things. But for them to conflate, people still conflate these things, but luckily nowadays society on the whole is seeing that as a toxic thing you shouldn't do. But to conflate Freddy Krueger behavior with burgeoning homosexuality is really bad. Like, I don't think this movie gets enough credit for how bad it is on a toxic level, even though it's probably at times trying to do good, trying to get a story across in some manner that isn't supposed to be toxic, but backs into the most toxic ways that it could.
Well, the thing, I think the problem is they're looking at statistics and stuff and they're saying, okay, where could we reach an audience with something like this that will, the budgets are low and we might not be risking a lot. Horror movies are the place to be because people go consistently see horror movies, and they've consistently had underlying tones and stuff, and people have accepted it in that genre. I'm sure Dan knows the movie I'm thinking of with a certain camp. There's just certain things that happen.
I don't know at all what you're talking about. You're being too vague.
The movie you want us to watch?
Oh, the movie that when I was watching this movie, I thought, damn, we're watching this and we can't watch Cruising?
No, Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, Sleepaway Camp. Oh, I wanted to watch Cruising.
Yeah, there's stuff in that movie that are undertone and in your face, and it's like stuff in that movie that they're trying to say might not go mainstream. It might not work in a drama. A horror movie, sometimes you can get away with a lot more because they're not spending a lot of money, they're not risking a lot of money, and the characters can allow for certain things to be done.
So the studio's just like, yeah, it's only $1 million. Yeah, make the character gay. What do I care?
Right. So it's like with this, I don't even know if everybody was in on the idea. I don't know if it was just in the script or if it was the director was like, yeah, we should do this. Or
yeah.
But visually, the stuff is there. There's a lot there. It's just suffers from poor execution. And if you think of the 80s, you have the whole AIDS thing going on, and they're growing up in the 80s.
I don't think it even just suffers from poor execution. Like, because you can have, like, whenever I say that, usually with the execution, it's really because there was an idea that's good, or a theme that's good, or like a plot that's good, and it just wasn't done well. In this movie, there were actually like glimmers of things that were done well, but they didn't have anything to do with the plot or the story.
Right.
They were like,
Just
like
visual.
Freddy Krueger's makeup.
Right.
His brain after he pulled his scalp off, like that kind of stuff. There was some stuff in there that was really cool and really good. And like visually so, like the mirror scene. Awesome. But like there was also a lot of stuff that was also not done well visually. And there was nothing done well storytelling wise.
Right.
And there was nothing, and I don't think that there was any consistent vision to be executed well. So the thing just was, never got off the ground, because it didn't have roots. It just didn't have roots.
No, I agree.
So,
again, the 13-year-old Travis that saw this movie loved it.
I could see that
because it was freaking cool.
Yeah.
The 25-year-old Travis, if he saw it for the first time, probably would have been like, yeah, it's kind of corny. But Freddy looked cool.
And so I mean, the dance scene while he's unpacking is maybe the best scene in cinematic history.
Yeah.
Is it gay, though? I mean, what's...
No, it's homoerotic, I guess you would call it.
It's just
how is
embarrassing
it
as hell, man.
He's homoerotic because he's stroking the stick.
It's his stick, man.
Yeah, but it's his.
All right, so
that's the insinuation, I thought.
It's homoerotic because of all the other stuff you know about the movie. It would be erotic.
I don't know that yet.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is in the whole, when you watch the whole movie and you see all the innuendo and all the suggestion and all there's a lot of homosexual imagery and story in this movie.
All I thought was that was a really dope vintage Phillies hat. That's all I thought.
That's wonderful. I saw somebody...
And then I was like, oh, that's funny. The thing went pop.
Yeah.
It's super cringe, but like at the same time, it's, what the hell did I just watch?
They lighten it by him getting caught dancing, and it's his girlfriend, and she's just kind of like, and it's like jock itch. She's like, where do you want this? Like, to me, it kind of played in that mentality or that commentary that he wants to be himself, but he's still hiding it from other people. That's the way I looked at it. Like, as soon as he's caught, he knows it's strange to be dancing with a stick in his crotch and doing whatever it is, whether it was erotic, homoerotic, sexual, non-sexual, whatever it was, he was hiding it. Because as soon as they showed up in that room, he was ashamed of his behavior. Even though the whole movie is about his inside coming out. He's coming out of whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Also, I just
poorly
I
executed.
just thought of another problem with the movie. Just a little thing. When
The whole thing?
Jesse's in when Jesse's in the other dude's bedroom,
Grady.
yeah. And he's like there's something that's like it's getting inside of me, and he's like, you got a chick that wants to get inside
Yeah.
you. It's like, what the
Hey,
that's not
just
how sex works.
that is progressive, is what that is.
Yeah. But in the 80s, that's funny how, because obviously vulgarity and everything was a lot bigger back then. Like people were less afraid of offending and saying things that are in their head and shouldn't be out.
Yeah.
Back then, that was basically life. So him saying that is super icky and wrong anatomically. But
You guys
were
are so
going
close-minded.
They were going for the reveal of him saying, "You want to sleep with me." That they totally negated how stupid the first part of that sentence sounded when he said, "You have a girl that wants to get inside you."
They whiffed, or they muffed. No, just playing. No,
Huh.
they whiffed on that. It was terrible.
No, it's
or,
bad.
guys, you got to remember that this movie is 9 years after the opening of Misty Beethoven, so maybe they were right on the line, and you guys just need to catch up.
Well, and
So
it's how many years after Rocky Horror?
You're saying, Dan, that when Grady said that line, "You've got a girl that wants to be inside you,"
He's talking about himself.
he was talking about, I can only assume that the way you interpreted that statement was, your girlfriend wants to stick her finger in your butt.
Well, no, I'm mostly just giving them a pass where obviously they fucked up a line, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But, I mean, guys, if you're not...
Moving on.
If you're not... I mean, are we going to get into pegging on this show? I mean, we made it 53 episodes without talking about it. I guess it's about time. Okay.
Pegging?
What? Is that like docking?
Docking?
I'll
Are
let you
talking about-
guys do that research on your own
What
time.
is? I'm not looking at it. What's pegging?
I'll just Urban Dictionary real quick. It's no big deal.
Does that have to do with like Al Bundy?
I mean, I don't know what
Peg.
Al Bundy's up to.
So,
I know what docking is, and if it's anything like docking, then I don't want to see it.
docking?
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to look it up on Urban Dictionary. Or maybe I'll watch it later. No, just wait.
What's funny is
Am I going to read the definition on our podcast?
No.
I'll probably end up cutting this whole part out, but I mean,
Depends
it's
on what
pretty-
it says.
It might be fun if you make me laugh. I might leave it in.
What is it called? Pegging?
Pegging.
Oh, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
what you thought.
That's yeah. I mean, you could interpret it that way if you were trying to justify the.
Okay, yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think that because the definition of pegging is when a woman fucks a guy with a strap on.
Oh, okay.
So since we got that out of the way,
Oh, I'm glad you cleaned it up for the kids.
Yeah. So we got that out of the way. The line was, she wants to be inside of you.
And you want to sleep here with
A
me.
strap-on is not
Right.
part of her.
Well, who's to say she's a she?
Oh my God! You just blew my mind. Never mind. This movie's awesome.
I mean, from a Kubrickian standpoint, where
Yeah,
nothing is
yeah.
a mistake, then that must be
No,
what
this
they
movie's perfect.
And right when he
yeah.
said that, the light switch moved.
I am mistaken for having not liked this movie at first. It's a masterpiece.
I mean, this movie is basically The Shining too, also, right?
probably, yeah.
What's funny is this: if that's their agenda in this movie, or the underlying tone of the writer to get these things out there, they were doing this kind of stuff in Rocky Horror like 10 years prior, or 8 years prior. So it's like,
Travis, you keep making points. You keep making points that detract from the movie.
why?
Every point that you're making is tearing the movie down a little bit more.
Is it?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know why.
I don't know what you're
I
talking about.
agree with you. I agree with you, but like you're sitting here and you're like giving me reasons to not like this movie, but then also being like, But I love this movie.
No, I don't love this movie.
13-year-old me love this movie.
Let's check the tape from last week when you were like, "Oh, I brought you my copy. Oh, I better take that home because I need a copy because I love this movie."
I do love this movie, but I don't love it like you love. I don't love it because it's a good movie. I love it because of it's my
You
favorite.
love it,
it's
but
my
you-
favorite Freddy.
You love it, but you wouldn't marry it.
I would not marry it. I wouldn't even date it. I just look at it once in a while.
I did like the Freddy too.
It's my
Now,
favorite Freddy.
Here's
Freddy
the
was
thing
good.
about Freddy, guys. I mean, I expected, because I hadn't watched this in a while, I expected the taunting Freddy, because he kept talking about taunting Freddy and loving this Freddy the most. Dude didn't taunt anybody. I checked it. It was 67 minutes in before he smirked at somebody. I was just like, which movie
Which
has
is why
a
I like
taunting Freddy? Like,
it. I don't like
is-
taunting Freddy.
Which
I'm not a
Freddy do
fan.
you like? You like smirking at 67 minutes Freddy?
I like badass Freddy that's not making jokes all the time. I like demonic Freddy, like entity Freddy. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I like it too.
I just don't know if there's enough of it in here for me to even qualify this as like entity Freddy, because for every 30 seconds of good Freddy, you've got 45 seconds of "I love you, whatever,
Yeah, I
be
know.
so bad, Freddy," and it's just like, what the hell?
Like I said, there were short, small, little bits in this movie that were good. Like there were, like I said, there were Freddy parts. There were bits, small, tiny bits that were good. But there was no
Agree.
roots, so it just went to shit.
Hey, but 1985 as a Mo, there was new Coke all over the place. Did you catch that? Are you aware of new Coke, George?
New Coke?
New Coke.
No.
Okay, so in 85, Coke was like, hey, Pepsi's catching up on our market share. We're going to debut a new version of Coca-Cola. We're going to call it New Coke. It was sweet, 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 and it did not go over well. And that's why all your Coke cans now say Coca-Cola Classic, because they want you to know you're not drinking that new horrible stuff, but you're drinking the good stuff. Now,
There was different Coke in this movie?
here, those Cokes.
Yeah, it was all in the director's nose.
It's like right on the front of the camera too. Like they,
yeah.
well, but no, it's very. There's a lot of product placement in this movie from Coke, who's trying to get their new product launched that year.
Yeah.
So a little Coke history for you, George. If you know anyone who drinks Diet Coke, that is the diet version of New Coke. There was a diet version of Coca-Cola, Classic, but it was known, Back to the Future fans, as Tab.
Yes.
As
Tab.
Pepsi free.
You got to pay for it.
Yeah. So yeah, Tab is now known as Coke Zero Sugar. For a while, it was known as Coke Zero.
Yes.
But that is Tab. That is Coca-Cola Classic with no sugar. But Diet Coke is New Coke without sugar, and it endures as a brand. People love that stuff. Hey, so you guys want to know how I'd fix this movie?
Wait, can I mention that Quado was the gym teacher?
Quado?
Quado from Total Recall. Remember the body that was growing out of the other guy's body?
Yes.
So the guy carrying around Quado
Yes.
was the gym teacher.
And that's why he had to be facing the wall when he got killed, because you would have
'cause he
seen
had
Quado
That's not attractive.
if he
in
had turned
11.
around. It would have been
Right.
confusing to the plot line.
Right.
That was a fun bit. I mean, I know he's not from Jala movies, but I figured I'd
It was
mention that.
yeah. It was very progressive for them to have selected an actor with another actor in his abdomen for this role.
Right.
That was
I think
they took a risk there.
they did take a risk.
So here's how you fix this movie. This is the Dan fixes it portion, guys. I've cracked
Normally
the
you
code.
fix things in post.
Here's how you fix it. Here's how you fix it. So all you have to do,
I did.
you have to stop the BS of the transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Freddy has to stay in the dream world.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to have a bunch of dead bodies show up and blame it on the kid. Boom.
Okay.
That's a better movie. And then here's what you do. Here's how you fix it, right? So you've got in this case, let's just say it's Jesse, right? Jesse, because in this movie, he's clearly involved in some of these kills. Jesse's straight up killing guys, but he's also seeing Freddy in his dreams, and he thinks that Freddy's doing it, but really it's him the whole time, maybe. When the police find Jesse, they realize he's just a kid obsessed with Freddy Krueger. Okay? But then, on the nightly news, as your little like stinger at the end, right? The local news at 10 o'clock is reporting on the capture or the, retrieval of the body of Jesse, who was obsessed with Freddy Krueger. And Freddy, you'll remember, is the child killer, blah, 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 right? And then a little kid hears that news report, goes to bed, and then hears Freddy's laugh. Boom! In the movie. Yeah. Now Freddy's got power again. Freddy's back.
Okay. I love that. But also, it's the same as the first one until the very end.
No, because you're along for the ride. You know that Jesse's basically the Tommy Jason. He's doing the work. It's not Freddy.
Yes.
So it's different than the original because Nancy didn't run around killing people.
No, in Dan's fixed version,
right?
It's just a copycat.
No, Freddy is.
It's Freddy.
Freddy is literally in the mind of Jesse, who's doing the killing. So it's like
he's just obsessed with him.
It's like mental illness, but it is.
Which version of the movie are we talking about? Your fixed version?
Fixed version. In my fixed version, Jesse is essentially a mentally ill person committing murders. But in his mind, he's doing it because of Freddy Krueger. And so as the audience, the game is Freddy possessing Jesse, or is Jesse crazy and channeling that crazy through the image of Freddy Krueger? But then when you get to the stinger ending, it becomes clear that Freddy was there the whole time, and then it's actually a supernatural movie.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Let's do it.
Copyright Remedial Film Class.
Call Kevin Smith. Let's do it.
Kevin Smith's got his own shit going on right now.
He's making Clerks 3, and I couldn't be happier.
He's also destroying He-Man for us fans.
I heard it was well received by everyone else except for people that watched a lot of He-Man when they were 4.
Yeah. It's falling under the same category as Star Wars fans. They're just like, why bring back a classic just to kill it?
I don't know, man. It made a lot of money at the box office, Star Wars, and you're the only person I've ever heard say that. So
that's not true.
It is, but I don't talk to anybody about Star Wars because Star Wars movies are dumb.
No, what I'm saying is people are angry because they had all the original cast come back, but none of them did scenes together. They didn't all do scenes together. You had that opportunity. You had this chance, and you didn't do it. And then one person died in real life. You killed another one of the characters, so you're never going to get them together again. So people had a problem with that.
That's really sad if Kevin Smith is doing that because it's an animated show, and they could have... Never mind. Hey,
You're really impossible sometimes.
Hey,
he killed He-Man in the first episode.
Oh, really? Well, that's pretty ballsy.
So people are like, wow.
Wow. I'm sure he'll come back, though.
No.
I've seen a lot of slasher movies.
Teal is the new He-Man.
Those guys all come back.
Teal is the new He-Man.
I don't know who any of these characters are because I was a baby when that show was on TV.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of when I was a baby and before George was born, a few episodes ago, this was early in the run, we noticed that, George, some of your 80s and 90s history isn't the strongest chronologically.
Are we going to play Stump the Millennial?
No, but I'm going to just throw some dates at you just to give you an idea of the context in which they actually made this movie we just watched. Okay, so this movie is made between June 26th and the middle of August 1985. The last movie had come out in like November of 84.
Okay.
So turnaround time from script to screen, way less than a year, which is why I would suggest that there was probably a different movie that got like Jason Goes to Hell into this, because Jason Goes to Hell was a different movie. And then they're like, oh, shit, we got to put Jason in here. Here's 2 scenes with, a lake in the background. Now it's a Jason movie. So they're making the movie in June of 85. Now, in January of 1985, so a few months before, the CDC, for the first time, confirms that that AIDS is caused by a new virus. So, George, AIDS has been killing people in America for 3.5, 4 years. And it is just January of 85 when finally the CDC confirms, oh, hey, there's a new virus. I don't even know if it's called HIV at this point.
Mm-mm.
Like, that's how, like, we're early in the process in terms of getting to where we are by the end of the 80s, but we are 3.5 years in. Like, it's taken a long time for people to pay attention.
Was
to this
3.5, 4 years of people just blaming it on the gays?
Oh, man. Yeah. It
was
Okay.
blamed on a lot of things.
was originally referred to as GRID, gay-related immune deficiency.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Really?
Yeah. No,
Well,
I did not know that.
no, it's really
before-
bad.
Before blood transfusions, it was predominantly affecting gay men.
The outbreak,
And-
the outbreak was
yeah.
localized to gay communities.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yes.
So here's the thing:
It
March
progressed.
of 85, they have their first available commercial test to test for HIV. And then in July of 85, so while they are shooting this movie, an actor you've never heard of named Rock Hudson, who was a lady killer back in the 50s in terms of like a leading man, like
Just a hot. Every
Just a-
woman loved them.
a guy that every woman watching movies would have a crush on. Rock Hudson, right? He was a Channing Tatum of his day, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out. I don't even know if he was officially out as gay at that point. I don't know enough of his history, but he comes out in July of 85 and says he has AIDS. And he's like the big first celebrity to come out and say, hey, I've got this thing that we don't know anything about, and we just found out is a new virus. George, he is dead by October 2nd. So he comes out while they're making the movie. He's dead before the movie comes out. And on the backdrop of that period of the crisis, this movie comes out. So, I mean, like, you have to think, like, while they're on set, changes being made on the fly, have to know what world they're in, right? Just like Godfather 2, we got to do this thing. What are we going to do? Let's throw an abortion in there because it's 1973 and that's where our mind is at. So
Right.
AIDS has to be playing a role in some of these decisions. I don't know, because I don't have the early draft scripts, when the burgeoning homosexuality coming out of the closet stuff, when that is in the script. Was it there first before it was Freddy? Or was it added later because of where they were going with the movie? I don't have enough information. And nobody cops to it. We'd have to find somebody that has access to scripts.
The scriptwriter finally, like recently, said that it was purposely done.
Oh, I mean, it has to
They
be
were
perfectly
denying
done.
it forever.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a horrible time. Like, and that's one of the reasons that, like, cruising is so interesting, which I guess we're never going to cover because y'all don't want to watch it. But, I mean, George, Al Pacino investigating a murderer in, like, gay leather clubs in New York in 1980. So before AIDS.
Okay.
Right before AIDS. I mean, it'd be like if you had a movie with just imagine if you had a movie with a murderer at a party in the World Trade Center in August of 2001, right? Like, you just couldn't have made a more perfect scary movie right on the cusp of a historical change. It's just weirdly timed.
Illuminati. I said that as a joke, Dan.
I don't know, man.
Dan in post.
We've had a lot of, like, big agenda stuff, like, oh, the studios were pushing. It's like, dude, this is just like four guys making a movie. Like, there's no, like, big conspiracy here. There's just, like, dudes making a movie, trying their best to tell a story and doing it inconsistently and very poorly. But
and hijacking a character to do it.
I was gonna ask, why wouldn't we watch? What was that movie? Cruising.
I've brought it up a few times. It's been.
I'm not against watching it. I can't believe I would watch Cruising before I watch about 10 other Pacino movies. That's all I said.
I want to see Taxi Driver. I've heard some things about that movie.
It's a good art film.
Not anything about it, but just that it's like.
Well, yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah.
I'll watch that. I wasn't sure we were taking requests.
You sometimes ask me if
No, we do.
there's anything that I'm itching to see.
We like to
Word.
know what you want to watch, but we don't always give it to you right away.
No, I don't expect you to.
So, George, with
True that.
context, having talked about it a little more, do you
Still
see
hates it.
why people watch this movie?
No. No, it's still terrible.
There's a reason why you have an old guy on your show.
Yeah.
The old guy that might like movies for a different reason than you do, because I saw them when they came out, and you guys might be seeing it in hindsight.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take, I'm gonna basically say, it's not a good movie,
Okay.
What?
but it doesn't mean I don't like it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what that
Like, there's-
line of
So
reasoning...
let's say it's
you know-
like a guilty pleasure then.
It's like it's just nostalgically, it's in my
It's like
It's in
comfort
my-
food. It's not good for you.
it's in my collection because it's a part of my childhood. So
That's fine.
nostalgically, it means something to me.
You do have to
That's
be
fine.
careful with that line of reasoning, though, Travis, because
Why is that?
if you allow it to continue, you might get punished.
I knew he was gonna do some shit like that.
This movie was garbage day.
Garbage day.
You know what really annoys me is, like, they get the franchise back on track with the next one, and the rest of them are just kind of, besides 3, which there is some good stuff in 3.
Yes.
Beyond 3, it's just like, okay, cookie cutter, we got to slam these things out. Okay, Freddy's doing bigger and weirder things, and we're just making all the money. The thing that annoys me is they make so much money on these next few movies that it pulls Jason into a fight with fake Carrie. And it brings up copycat movies like Bad Dreams, which is actually better than most of the Nightmare movies. But, you know, horror goes in such a supernatural, perception-based, dreamscape way that you start to lose my favorite movies. Like, you just don't get a lot of Friday the 13th Part 2 and 4 after these movies.
There was actually a movie in the 80s called Dreamscape.
Oh, really? Did it suck?
It's a Dennis Quaid movie,
Ugh.
and it's basically a serial killer that uses people's dreams to kill them.
I wonder where they got that idea.
I have no idea. It's not a bad movie, but it's one of those movies that's like 80s, definitely.
Well, George, next week.
Are you just gonna do Travis? I love it.
A movie.
No, keep going. Yeah.
We are going to do
We're going to do a movie.
Three Ninjas.
It's called, oh my God, can we do Three Ninjas? That'd be fucking awesome.
I've seen that though.
You've seen Three Ninjas? How the hell did you see Three Ninjas? Are you sure you've seen Three Ninjas?
No, now that you're saying that, maybe not.
I mean, I would do the hell out of Three Ninjas, but I can't imagine.
What is Three Ninjas? Like,
It's like
explain.
3 kids trained by their grandpa to be karate capable.
And like, there's this guy that's being chased by the FBI named Snyder.
Yeah, man, you've seen Three Ninjas.
And like, they wear like these masks, and like
Yeah.
these kids like basically take down this like
The Wayne's World
whole, like,
guys, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen
knock
it.
off Steven Seagal, hires Wayne and Garth to kidnap some kids so that the FBI will leave them alone.
Yes,
That's a hell of a movie, man.
I love it. Let's do it.
It sounds like you know it better than you should. No, I was thinking,
I watched it when I was a kid, I think.
well, George,
Free Snyder, FBI.
yeah, that's the one. Rocky loves Emily.
Rocky loves Emily.
Okay.
It's a good movie. Travis, have you ever seen Three Ninjas? We might just turn it on you next week.
I saw it back when it came out, but
So
I
good.
don't remember if I watched it.
It's awesome. It's fun because the kids don't hit hard enough that they need to worry about it, so they're just straight punching the stunt doubles. Like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it makes the action look more real because they're just straight up clubbing these dudes.
Yeah. What year did that come out? Was that like 95, 94, 95?
Yeah, like 93, 94, somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, I was working at the theater when it came out. I remember seeing it.
It's a good flick, but I don't think it's really got a lot of academic merit.
So I was like 7 or 8 years old. That was in my wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
No, I think we should watch From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
From one time to
Next-
another time.
Next week, we're going to be watching a movie Do you know what Dusk Till Dawn is?
No,
From Dusk Till Dawn?
I do not.
Do you know anything about it? Do you,
Nope.
What do you think
I
you
have.
might be experiencing?
I have no idea.
And that's good.
Zero. Zilch. Nada.
There's going to be at
But I
least
hope-
2 times next week that we're going to say a thing, and you're going to be like, wait, what? And we're going to laugh hysterically. Johnny Depp?
That was good,
great.
man.
That was great.
I can't believe that happened to me.
the boyfriend, he looked like John Mayer.
I can't believe that happened to me, but I love it.
I'm
It's
the
great.
dude disguised as a dude playing another dude.
It's great radio. I love it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Any guys in leather in this movie? Any
Hopefully.
Big machine guns.
machine guns?
Maybe there's some pegging.
Ooh.
I don't. There might be pegging in the background, but I'm not sure if it's in the forefront.
I mean,
These things happen, in the time between dusk and dawn, right?
Yeah.
So,
Especially, yeah.
all right. Thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us at Twitter and Instagram at Remedial Film Pod. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Remedial Film Pod. If you're watching this on YouTube, just be aware that we're on every RSS podcatcher you can think of, from Stitcher to Apple to Spotify. We're everywhere. But hey, if you're listening on your phone or on an RSS feed, did you know we're also on YouTube? Check it out, man. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next time for From Dusk Till Dawn.